refuse to call it the king's birthday. It is the queen's birthday. It has been that my entire life. I refuse to have a day dedicated to another man. Hello and welcome to Trust Your Waffle. My name is Chloe. I am an artist recording from the Southern Hemisphere in Melbourne, Australia, and recording to me from the Northern Hemisphere is artist, writer, producer, nominee of a radio award, Cara Joubert from England.
Hello, good to be here again.
Can you remind us what Trust Your Waffle means?
Sure thing. Trust your waffle. In a sense, in a really cringy, sort of simplified way, is believe in yourself.
Yeah, fabulous. Absolutely. Trust Your Waffle, I've definitely adopted it into my everyday speech. And I guess what our podcast is about is we are emerging writers and artists, and this is our little pen pal to each other where we check in, see what we're working on, see where we're at, and hopefully can find other creatives who are at this kind of emerging phase. I guess we're going to exchange ideas. We're going to talk about the things we're working on, the things that are inspiring us, and then have a few questions at the end. Which I forgot to write a second question. Did you actually do the research for my question? I didn't even know if it was a question. It was just like, what are some good dynamic duos that don't get enough recognition?
Oh, that's a good question. I know one dynamic duo that gets lots of recognition in the UK, which is Ant and Dec, that seem to win every award possible for duo presenters. But I'm trying to think more widely speaking.
Sounds like you're saying "and the deck," like the
No, Ant and Dec, they are two presenters, and I mean, honestly, they have won so many awards for their work together, and they've got a really good dynamic. It's just, I'm sure that there are lots of other dynamic duos within presenting. Give those guys a chance as well. All right,
and deck or
Dec. So Ant, I'm going to type it in for you. It's ANT. Is the one guy's. It's a nickname, Anthony. One can assume, and
oh, okay.
that's wild that you don't know what they look like. They're everywhere here.
And I was like, we should talk about like good dynamic duo. So, but the first one that came to my mind was that, uh, there's classics like Timon and Pumbaa, Bert and Ernie. But then when I started thinking about like what are some dynamic duos that don't get the recognition that they deserve, um, and then also over the week I've like found a few good things. So you've got like Thelma and Louise, then you've got Troy and Abed from Community. Uh, One that I think is very important for me as a cheerleader was Torrance and Isis from Bring It On. Like their
Right.
dynamic and their rivalry was just beautiful. Uh, Lisa and Mabel from Gravity Falls. Have you seen that, by the way?
No.
Oh, you'll love it. Brilliant writing, brilliant, just everything.
I do like me some good writing.
I've got an Aussie reference, Kath and Kim. Do you know Kath and Kim?
No, although I feel like if I were to Google all these names, I'd probably recognize some faces in there. Like Thelma and Louise, I know. That's used as an example so often in screenwriting books. So there are definitely some recognizable ones in there.
Right, the screenwriting book on Kath and Kim. They are the biggest dynamic duo with the biggest legacy and the most important legacy in comedy. And oh god, you need to watch Kath and Kim. I can't. I don't even know how to begin describing Kath and Kim to you. It is just the most brilliant Aussie. Oh, like how do I describe Kath and Kim?
Oh, it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's like the most important piece of literature that has ever come out of Australia.
That's putting it up high. Gosh.
It is so important. Like, I would love to do a dress up as Kathy here. in. Especially, actually, I would love to dress up as Kath in her walking outfit, and then have my partner be Cal. Um, yeah, it's brilliant. Okay, other ones that I have is Anna Camp and Brittany Snow from their characters in Pitch Perfect. I think they are brilliant. Wes Anderson films in a pastel palette. Thought you might.
Oh, yeah. And symmetry.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm like, actually, when we get onto whips, like, I have this like short film and I'm like scripting it and re-scripting it, and I'm in a few drafts, but I'm literally
That's
out every shot because it's like I want it to be really specific in the shot. Which is why the film will never get made because my perfectionism is going to get in the way. Um, I've got Fran Fine and Maxwell Sheffield from The Nanny. Did you ever watch The Nanny? Oh my gosh, this is like the biggest episode about our cultural differences.
yeah. Well, that's it. You don't know who Anton Deck is. I don't know who the vast majority of these names are, I'm afraid.
And then I did want to also mention from the theatre background, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern from not sure I was supposed to say Harry Potter from Shakespeare, but then they got their own plays. So I feel like they're cool guys. And then also as a few obscure ones, I had Hayley Williams' "Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party." That's Hayley Williams' new album, and then Lily Allen's "West End Girl." I think are like the biggest, most recent dynamic duo that is so culturally important, especially as a creative artist that is so inspired by these women as a whole. And then I also had Toothbrush and Toothpaste, which also I feel like we need to give out to our audience. Of Are they colleagues? Are they siblings?
I think they are more than friends, if I'm going to be completely honest. They have a very, very close collaborative relationship, is one way to put it.
Dynamic duos that come to mind.
Oh, yeah. I think Mike Wazowski hmm, and Sully in Monsters Inc. Those guys are friendship goals. And then you have Chewbacca and Han Solo. That's another good dynamic for the Star Wars fans out there.
No. All the fluffy guys.
Yeah, pretty much. You can see similarities there actually between the two of them. I feel like there's look, there's a lot, particularly in film. There is a lot, and I suppose it makes sense because a character ought to have someone else that brings out the best or worst of them, vice versa.
Oh my god, I didn't even mention the Mighty Boosh. Like, I feel like they carved my teenage years. So the Mighty Boosh is such a good dynamic to it. Vince Moore and Howard Moon.
I think you know more about dynamic duos than me. We're a dynamic duo. Underrated.
All right. Well, I have a poem for you today. I did have to scour it in the last hour because I realized I'd been thinking about it a lot, and because I'm reading a lot of Afra Bean at the moment, um, which I'll get into when we talk about whips. I was trying to find one of her poems, but they're a little bit raunchy. Like they're a little bit spicy. Obviously, spicy for the time. Uh, when you read them, you're like, oh yeah, she's just talking about lovers and blah blah blah. But then when you're like, no, Afra Bean, you're like, mm. So maybe for next week, once I have read a bit more and found one that's PG for the podcast.
Ah, right, I see. Sort of like a toothpaste and toothbrush type situation.
From this book that I just randomly picked up from the library, which the universe needs to revolve around a library, in my humble opinion. It's just called Best Australian Poems from 2013. And I just kind of like it for when I'm like on a bus and stuff. And I feel like, I mean, the reason I want to like read poetry all the time in everything that I do is because I feel like growing up, poetry is this visceral thing over there. But the thing I love about poetry, or how I look at poetry, is read it. If it connects with you, sick. Love it. Hold on to it. Let it resonate. If it doesn't, move on. Who cares? Like, just keep going. And that's what I like about these. Like, there's no order. It's just alphabetized. Best Australian poems from 2013. That's all it is. There's some poems I'm just like, I don't understand. I'm not. And then in other moments. There's like there was this one poem about this weird town in the middle of New South Wales with this weird Chinese restaurant that I've been to. I have never thought about this restaurant since being in it. And then they mentioned something about this weird bridge in this town. And I was like, I've been there. And I was just like, and I was like, this is why I love poetry. Like, it's just like a short little thing that gets you out of your mind, gets you thinking abstractly. And this actually resonates with what you said before the podcast about having a weird dream. It's just like a really fun little thing about dreams that I like. So it goes like this. It's called On Dreams by Diane Fay. It needs strong will and patience to hold the dream inside the body, while the mind imprints itself with icons of bright smoke and an arm reaches for pen, paper, timed out, the dreams beyond claim, a shoreline's wash of mood clipped by cloud. A dream saved is this glass of water, which lights a piecemeal, bizarre version of a encrypts and reverses a text in progress, swells, presses flat, these fingertips as the day the glass collects dust, fresh shadows, kaleidoscopes, gold air. You sip from it, drinking the brew, the dream, here and now, and then, nowhere, never.
I think that's quite fun. I love the sort of artistic, whimsy nature of dreams. So it makes sense that, yeah, it's a good poetry subject to write about. Um, and I can definitely, yeah, in sort of the breakdown of dreams, would I be right in saying this person referred to texts in reverse and things like, well, that's a very real thing because when you're in a dream, your brain cannot really comprehend letters as such. So if you are in a dream, and I used to lucid dream quite a bit, so this was a test for reality for me, and I would look at some words and then I'd look away and I'd look back. And if the words were still the same, then obviously not a dream. But if the words changed, then that meant you were in a dream, and letters would move around like this, and it's one of those things that it's a really good test to see whether you're in a dream or not. And if you're someone who lucid dreams a lot, getting to that moment of realization, actually I'm in a dream, that's a really good technique to get there. So I think it's really interesting that they included that. Clearly this is a person who is very aware of their dream life and the dream world, so I think it's really cool that they included that within.
Really interesting because I haven't had the word experience in my dreams, but I've definitely experienced lucid dreaming and I've definitely is lucid dreaming the one where you're like, I'm in a dream. I know I'm in it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like not the one when you're like, have you what's it called when you're like you've actually half woken up, but your brain hasn't told your body you can move? Like that's the really
Sleep paralysis. Yeah.
I've experienced both of them. Um, but I haven't had the writing one, so maybe I should do that because I just read this whole thing about people purposefully getting more control in their lucid dream, and I'm like, Loki, I'm just like, that seems like fun. It's like playing a game, like a video game that is in your head.
Oh yeah, and it can be really fun. I will say this. So I it's a really niche topic we're discussing today. Um I created a podcast about lucid dreaming, and I spoke with dream scientists. I say, I mean, the official term is, I believe, a neurologist, but they go with dream scientist. And I spoke to several. The lead for this one podcast was Karen Conkley, Dr. Karen Conkley, and she was talking about like different reality checks and the benefits and possible disadvantages of lucid dreaming. So there are some risks to also consider when you are really diving into lucid dreaming, such as sleep paralysis can be one of them, fatigue, tiredness, because your brain is like awake while you're sleeping. So there are a few things to consider. I should send you the link to my podcast. It actually got me a very good grade, so I'm happy to I'm happy to share that about.
Oh, no wonder you're getting a what?
I mean, it's one of the things that I submitted to be considered for the award. So
I'm so like, I'm always in awe of you. Like, yeah, you're always doing cool things.
stop it. But I will send you the podcast and you can give that a listen. It is on Spotify. It's called In Your Dreams. You might also find it as In Your and then in brackets Lucid Dreams.
Oh my God, that's so cool. God, you're so cool.
It's a very niche topic. I've made a few podcasts, but it just so happened that you touched on a subject with that poem there that I do know a weird amount about from personal experience and yeah, making a podcast about it.
That's cold for the week. Okay, we've waffled. Inspiration of the week.
My inspo. Well, I've had a few really amazing experiences over the week. Went to a film festival. I'm working on a magazine which has resulted in some interviews with amazing people. But if we're talking about inspo of the week, yeah, no, I know. Don't worry, I'm staying on track. Don't worry. Um, it- I just want to take a moment to talk about the Barbie film from Greta Gerwig. Masterclass in so many different things. The writing is just, I love it so much that it takes itself seriously where it needs to, and every other place it's just like you just roll with it. Um, it's a fantastic piece. Me and my mother and my sister, we all watched it together, and we watch it together because the guys don't really understand it as such. Not every dude, but I have found that in conversation with quite a few folks of the male portion of the species have asked me like, what was that about? I don't get it. What was this moment supposed to say? Is it symbolic? Is it not symbolic? And I think that Greta Gerwig, in my mind, she must have been intentional from that perspective. And the fact that guys don't understand the film as much just makes it so much more valid in what it's saying. So, I love that film to bits. I really do. It's like one of my favorites.
Like every female understands it, but only some men get it. Which has been interesting, the discourse that's come out of it. Um, yeah, the costuming. And I love that they had weird Barbie.
Weird Barbie is fantastic.
Had that Barbie that we drew all over and, you know,
Gave a haircut.
definitely had that one. What was your uh favorite kind of bit, or like is there something that stands out particularly for you?
There are two moments. There are lots of moments, but if I'm thinking highlights, there's the monologue, which everyone knows about. If you've seen the film, you'll know it when you hear it. And I just love that so much. Um, I was told by someone when it came out, it's like, oh no, it was a bit much. That person was also a guy who didn't understand the film. It's like, yeah, it was a bit on the nose. It was a bit too much. But you know what? It was so beautifully articulated, and I adore that monologue. I think it was written by real experience. And then there is also that moment where Barbie goes to the Mattel HQ, and it's just a bunch of men around the table in the board meeting. She's like, I would like to speak to the woman in charge. And they'd like saying, well, we've had two women work for us. A whole two women. I really resent what you're trying to say here. I am the son of a mother. I just love that. Ah, yes. And then this like when Ken comes back into Barbie Land, he brings patriarchy with him, and as a result redefines what the female male relationship should be basically within Barbie Land. One of them is it's just so bad because it's so true in a lot of situations I find. Is the low commitment long it's the long term low commitment long distance girlfriend or something like that. Just some of the phrases and it's very tongue in cheek, but Us ladies get it.
What's the line where she's like, "I'm not a fascist. I don't control the commerce or the railways." That that one hit me. I was like, "Hell yeah!" Because all I'm like, my class the past 2 years has just been economy, and I'm like obsessed with trades and how important they are in infrastructure. So that one like got me. I was like, "Oh, perfect line."
I feel like that was a very you line. To be honest, and this is a compliment, by the way. So prepare yourself. But I feel like you actually remind me a lot of Margot Robbie. I think you look a bit like her in my mind, and I do feel like there are some similarities there. Like some lines from the Barbie film, I can see you delivering easy.
On Neighbours. I didn't have any leading role or anything, but a female set me worked there.
And it's an admirable thing indeed. I mean, Neighbours is popular enough in the UK that when I went to Australia, my lecturer said you will go to Ramsay Street. No, he didn't order it, but he's like, please can you go to Ramsay Street and take a picture for me?
Still around because it's just got cancelled for good.
I don't well, when I went, they were still filming. I took a selfie in the rain while they were filming, and you could just see some people in the background, but made my lecturer happy. So what I mean to say is you're a part of Neighbours, but don't, it's worthwhile being a part of Neighbours. The British folks here seem to love it, so there you go. My lecturer's probably seen you in one of the episodes.
With a background bartender or something. Right. That's about my extent of my career on Neighbours. But it it's so cool to look at how the studios work and they're filming so many things at the same time. And also like Ramsey Street's around the corner from where they actually do the interior stuff. So just the outdoor street is actually people's street and they live there. Um,
Yeah.
but it was really cool because you'd walk into this big building that's kinda like the first bit's the office building 'cause it's owned by Fremantle Media, I think. So it's like office building, and at the front, there's like a strip on the windows that has the high school name, so obviously they do outside filming of the school, and then
That's so clever.
yeah, yeah, and then they've got, like, a courtyard, which is actually the actual, like, food courtyard for all the staff and crew and everything, but they just schedule it around lunchtime and stuff like that, so that's used for the school, and then the cafe, all the interiors are in studios right next to each other, and they just push the walls across, and you're like, "Oh, that's that person's lounge room, and that's the cafe, and that's the bar." But then they've got the outdoor area, and I remember we'll have to do like this walking out and in of the cafe. But you walk into this room, and it's just like a broom closet. There's nothing.
No, it is really clever. I think you've And from a financial point of view, they're doing exactly what they should do, and that's making the most of the space that they've got. Yeah.
Show business, baby. So yeah, oh yeah, we were talking about the Barbie movie, which again I have so much to say about it. Like the speech, I feel like it was such like a it was like a catharsis I didn't know I needed. Was
Yeah.
like saying, wait, this goes in perfectly with my inspiration of the week, actually. Um,
Oh?
so I went and saw that there's this chick who's working in media. I mean, that's even like saying she's a chick, but she's a cool chick. Her name's Hannah Ferguson. And she's basically going to be Australia's next prime minister slash president, depending on what happens with England. Although I feel like Australians just don't really care about the monarchy that much, that they're not going to do anything about it. But there's that conversation's always in the air. Like, should we leave the Commonwealth? I
Oh, yeah, that conversation's been going for a long time.
feel like we're just too lazy to do anything about it.
Thank you, Commonwealth.
I refuse. I refuse to call it the King's birthday. It is the Queen's birthday. It has been that my entire life. I refuse to have a day dedicated to another man. Like we've already got many of them.
That's one thing you can start the podcast with, honestly. I refuse to have another day dedicated to another man.
Queen's
That's
birthday.
a very you thing to say. Yeah. But this lady, tell us more.
She's like the same age as me, I think, and she is doing political commentary. She runs a business called Cheap Media, and someone bought me her book. I had put two and two together though. So someone was linking me to like her reels, then someone for my actually, yeah, someone for Christmas bought me her book and was like, "Oh, this is so you," and it's called Taboo, and I was like, "Oh my god, that is so me." I love. I just feel like women's health is not a taboo topic. It is just like I just want basic human rights, man. Stop debating whether I have control over my uterus or not in a carpeted parliament room, please. That is like, to me, not a taboo topic. It is just like, men with pens, get out of my uterus, please, which is literally a discussion that's happening in Australia at the moment. Anyway,
Yeah.
she's yeah, she just says basically that sort of stuff. Like she's just saying all the things that I am thinking that I've either, in my previous experience of talking about these things being knocked back or being I'm too controversial or blah 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 blah. She's really to the point, really factual. So I got tickets to her show. And then I went to this conference in Sydney called Women in Media, and then it was really funny because again had heard about this chick, had seen a few of the videos, someone bought me the book, and then I was like asking, I turned around, I was like, oh, do you know where this thing is? And to this random lady, and it was her. And I was like, but at the time, I was like, do I know you? Like, and I was like, no, I don't know anyone at this conference. I'm here. But she's like, oh no, sorry, I'm talking. I'm just here. I'm about to like talk at the next session. I don't really know where anything is. And I'm like, well, it's good to know that everyone's as clueless as I am. At this and then she was like up there talking, and I was just like agreeing with everything she said. And I was like, oh my God. And then I put two and two together. I was like, oh, this is that show my friend just got tickets to. And this is
That's amazing.
that someone's like told me about. So yeah, I went with my friend to her show. So she just did talking show. She was interviewed by someone, and just such a breath of fresh air in the sense of like especially through my studies, I've been studying a lot of economy and politics and how to engage with people. And something I'm quite passionate about is talking about complex issues. Like I feel like growing up, it was like, oh, politics is so complicated and the economy is so complicated. And now I'm just like, it's actually not. It's just academics or people that are working at this high caliber don't know how to communicate clearly. And something I'm really now quite passionate about out of my master's is communicating these things to people who don't have a full grasp or concept. Because if you can't communicate these things, then how do people know that they matter? And I feel like people brushing off being like, oh, well, I'm not into politics. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you could say you're not into politics, but it is literally part of your life, whether you like it.
Yeah.
And she's getting to this point where now mainstream media people are actually talking about her, commentating on her, and she's kind of just proving the power of Instagram and TikTok as a way of being able to communicate to people because people aren't engaging with old media like they used to. Now the biggest voting cohort is, the millennials and the Gen Z, or Z, whatever you want to call them. And she's just so inspiring. Like, I'm just so she was just saying all these things that I think about, and me and my friend Alana that went were just like, "Oh my god, this is so good." And just being like, literally, I just love being around women. Like, to be honest, I just love the energy, the vibe. When you're waiting in line, you're like, "Oh, I love your outfit, and I love this." And then I ended up sitting next to this musician guy who was really, really lovely. To the point where like he was like talking, and I was like, "Oh, what's your name?" And his name's like, "Oh yeah, I produce under the name Young Franco." And then me and my friend were like, I don't know. And then I looked up, I was like, afterwards, I was like, oh, I do know this song, and blah, blah, blah. So it's just like a really lovely night. And it, you know, she just imbued so much hope in the political kind of system. And I don't know if she's like one of the youngest people to run Senate there. I'm a big fan now. I still haven't read her books. Actually, you can see one of her books is sitting out. I still haven't read them because I've been doing a master's degree. But I'm very excited to read them, and I'm very excited to have someone my age talking in a way that I would love to talk and really kind of sticking it to the man. So that's my waffle.
This episode has not been politically endorsed by, but no, it's I think it's a very intentional thing. I've seen a lot being done through social media with regards to the Green Party here, which is the party that focuses, well, for since forever, they've focused on the climate as one of their priorities. Now they're shifting where it's the climate and it's the economy. And what they are proposing is taxing the 1%. Their social media campaign is particularly strong. I can't say, look, as far as the leadership is concerned, he's not as old as the other candidates. Like Nigel Farage is getting on a bit, you could say. Um, and he isn't like as young as us, but he is definitely appealing towards a younger audience. And among my peers, I've seen a massive increase of popularity in regards to the Green Party. So it sounds like as the influence of the far right is growing, so too is this opportunity for, I want to say, the underdogs of the political world to get more attention. We've just seen it in America with New York, and who they've recently appointed. Yeah, yeah. And so I think that there is going to be quite a few landscape changes, and it'll be very interesting to, just sit and watch this space and see what happens next.
We said this was not going to be a political podcast. As someone in media who's talking about political stuff in a very accessible way, which is something I want to do with my art and what you want to do with your documentary. It's about engaging the topic and bringing it down. And I think that's why everyone loves Louis Theroux, because the way he interviews, he has points, has marks he wants to hit, he has questions he wants to ask, but he remains curious, and the he is able to um, provide this kindness and this basic humanity in his interview process. I think it's so magical. Ah, everyone deserves.
I mean, being in communication right now, it's such a wild time to be involved in communication because you get a lot of misinformation. And at this point, it does feel like the loudest voice is the one that's heard, but there is so much need for nuanced conversations and informed conversations. And when you're in a place like journalism or communications where you have the opportunity to inform audiences in a way that is engaging and in a way that doesn't dumb things down, because that's patronizing, but rather explains in full what the situation is, it's such a valuable, important role. And it's an amazing time to be involved in communications. It's a scary time to be involved, but it's needed.
I just said I literally to the say it's so scary.
It can feel like a lot of responsibility at times, certainly.
And I reckon Hannah Ferguson would totally be fucking amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I'll have to watch the space, see where it is she goes, see where it is the Green Party goes here. I mean, I will, the Green Party is by no means the most popular party, but it is definitely gaining traction. So, but being that in the UK only a very small population of the citizens here vote, it's not, it's not mandatory, unlike in Australia voting. So it does make a difference. Which, yeah, you think about all these really important things that have been voted on in the past, and chances are, if every single person voted, the outcome would have been quite different.
Yeah. I mean, okay, last comment I will say is with Australia's voting system, and as someone that worked at one of the elections, I really don't, I really hate when people say, oh, they're all dogs. And because so many people donkey vote, which was shocking to me as someone who, not that I grew up really politically, but I had always grown up with an appreciation for politics, I guess, in a way. And exciting when I got to do my first vote. But I was surprised at how many Australians don't actually vote, because it's mandatory and you get fined if you don't. So yeah, that would be my one message is please just vote. Like, there's always like a little, just do a quick Google on who you appreciate. There's always people handing out flyers about the people. I do think everyone deserves a chance to vote and have their voice said. And as someone that has worked behind the scenes, hope to restore faith in people that are just like, they're all dogs, they're all the same, it doesn't matter, my vote actually doesn't matter. It's like, no, we do see them. I saw a lot of penises drawn on voting ballots in that time, and even someone brought in multiple pencils and they like did a full thing on it of just penises. It was a sight to be seen, and it's very funny. But your vote matters, and you should totally do it. And also, yeah, work if you don't believe in the system, go work for it. They always want casual workers.
Yeah, I think that the penises drawn on the voting cards might also. I don't know if that's safe for the safe for the children's ears.
I'll leave that for the back files for the. But it happens. Like,
Yeah, I mean, what else? Before we get cracking, when it comes to your whip whip of the week, what's your whip of the week?
is my week of the week. Okay, so I just finished my master's degree.
Yay! This is the part where if I could, party popper.
So that was handing that essay in was so cathartic. I remember I was standing in my kitchen just like doing the last little finishing touches. I mean, there's probably spelling mistakes, but I just got to a point at like 9 p.m. on a Friday night when it was due at midnight, and I was like, this is it. Um, and yeah, so I've handed that in, and that was very magical. And I
Wonderful.
felt, what's been happening? It's so funny because I've been editing our last episode podcast where I was talking about, yeah, I'm really like I feel like I've got a handle of my anxiety, like I can feel it and I can understand it. And the whole time I'm like editing this podcast going, I have so much anxiety right now because I'm so used to being a busy woman and having
Mm.
always having something to do. And I'd sit down and be like, have a cup of tea and be like, okay, what do I need to do now? Like, what can I do with myself? And still have the feeling of needing to do something, like having a due date, so that feeling is yet to completely dissipate. So I've just been reading and finishing a lot of the books that I've started because I have a really bad habit of starting books and then, like, literally, like, I've got 2 books on top of each other, that are both half open, and I've got another book over there that I'm reading. I've got 2 audiobooks that I've got on my phone because I have to be on a mood. Like, sometimes I'm like, "Oh, I just wanna read young adult fiction that's really easy," but then sometimes I'm like, "Oh, I want my dense stuff," and then I've got my poetry book that I read on the bus because I like it because it's short and sweet and you don't have to get too connected to it. But then my whip, which is something I've been working on all year, but then I had to kind of put to a side because uni, work, life. So I'm reading through Afra Bean, to her plays. So she was a famous British playwright. Have you heard of her at all?
The name does ring a bell, yeah. I'm not particularly well versed in the theatre scene, but I have heard of the name.
Yeah, well, she was the first female writer to be funded for her work, like
Wow.
paid by the king and whatever. So she was prominent in the Restoration period, and she's really cool. And she's really good at taking all the tropes and then slightly flipping them. So I was just doing some research on the Rover, which is one of the plays I'm reading. And long term, I guess the goal is I would really love to do like a little radio play of her plays, because there's not a lot. Again, female writers aren't given enough recognition. Um, so I would love to find old plays written by women and do radio plays versions and just do like a table read, sit down with a few actors, um, and then just record it and then, put that on YouTube or something just so that in the moment when like, I want to listen to this play, because nothing exists online of this play. And I'm like, I just want to listen to it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes,
They could exist again.
yeah,
Absolutely. And bring it back into the public domain in a way that they can watch or listen.
100%. And so that's something I really would love to work on. So now that I've said it in the podcast, I have to do it.
You have to be held accountable to that now.
Yeah, so I've picked up a few books about her and like some the history, theory, and criticism of rereading Afra Bean. And yeah, so I'm going to flip through them to get a bit more context and understanding. Because the Rover's set in
there's like a fete in Italy, so a bunch of British people went over, and it's one thing that's really interesting. I've just recently learnt about the rover is like it's called the rover, which is one of the main characters, but the joke in joke in it, which again she's flipped kind of the genre, like she takes all the classic tropes, is he's the one that f's up everything. Like he's making the mistakes. The couple aren't getting that's supposed to get together aren't getting together because of him. He's getting in the way, and so it's this idea of like the lead male character is just
Messing everything up. He's
frustrating.
the
Yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah, I'm slowly reading through it and trying to like understand the context of the Venetian festival that they're part of, because it's like mask and it's mistaken identity. So all those like it's just classic like theater. So yeah, I really want to like create a radio play of it so that maybe later down the line when I eventually do a create. Oh, hello, kitty cat.
Oh, yeah. Pixie Cat, sorry, she's wanting to get to the window.
So that eventually, if I were to do like my own short film or something based off of it, it's like, okay, this is the context of then, like, how do we reinvent itself? Because you know what? There needs to be a resurgence of classic literature made into modern movies. Like, She's the Man, Romeo and Juliet. What's the other
Mhm.
one? Clueless. Um,
And
yeah.
the Bridget Jones' Diary is supposed to be something reminiscent of Pride and Prejudice. I can't say it's the best iteration of that.
Oh.
I don't think it takes many of the there are some similarities, but from what I've heard, it doesn't take the some of the more important points from Pride and Prejudice. It's
Yeah. I'm gonna
I mean, look, there are good adaptations, and then there are other adaptations such as the Bridget Jones Diaries.
I don't honestly get. Okay, this is a safe space. This is a trust your waffle. I didn't really watch the movie until recently, and it's
Pride and Prejudice.
yeah. Oh no, 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 no. Of course, I've seen Pride and Prejudice. The Bridget Jones Diary
Yeah.
one, and she's heralded as this like female, like woman, amazing representation, but she's like changes her whole body and herself, and she's so negative about herself, even though she's quite fit. And
Mm.
then she changes herself for a man, and I'm like, "How is that a feminist, full story?" I don't quite understand it. And then I also don't understand, sorry, Hugh Grant, he's supposed to be this amazing, sexy man, and I would say
His character is less than appealing. The character certainly in that film.
I don't see it. Sorry, but he's not like but maybe it's because it's been built up so much to the point where
Mm.
it's like, he's supposed to be like, my amazing, beautiful man is Zac Efron. And actually, oh my God, today I was talking to this chick and she's like, oh my God, I watched The Great Gatsby in theatre in London recently and it had Corbin Blue from High School Musical. And I was like, I had the biggest crush on him. He was like in this skipping movie. Oh.
I've I mean, I've never seen it myself. I have heard plenty about it. I've seen reactions to it. I've read the Wikipedia page. I think I've heard enough about it to not want to watch it.
Yeah, and
It
then they keep
short.
making, more movies about it as well.
Yeah, they do. The more recent one only came out. I don't know if it was this year or last year.
Alright, so my whip this week is reading Aphra Bean, looking at all the half-finished projects that I've
Oh,
started, but also trying very hard to relax and not do anything, which is nearly impossible for me. And then yeah. Oh, and my last whip is today I went to this acting class and it was yeah, it was just a quick little workshop. I just was like because I'm picking up a lot of things I'd written and two of the things I've written have a character that I will embody and I want to wear a wig and really like work on my accent and blah 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 blah. So I was like, oh, here's this one day workshop at Howard Fine, which is a brilliant, amazing acting school. Um And so I decided to do that, to dip my toe in the water, and I had to do a scene, monologue, and
Is that the one with the lizard?
no, I didn't end up doing that one actually because that monologue was a minute and a half. But I
Okay.
was thinking I'd still just do a short to camera because I just thought I just think it's funny. Mm, yeah, so I was doing this scene. I did a Fleabag scene, um,
Okay.
but oh, I learnt today that acting and getting into that state of flow
Mm.
is a muscle, and you have to practice because I really struggled once I was in front of, the couple people, 5 or 6 people in the room. I was like and and everything he said, I was like, "Yeah, yeah." Like, it's so funny when you're, like, that knowledgeable about yourself and the craft when you're like, "Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah." 'Cause then he was like, "Oh, I can see you're going into it, and then you're coming out, and then you're meeting it and coming out," and it was just so frustrating. So it's like I left feeling like absolute like, I was like, "Oh my god, I am a terrible performer, like, what am I doing, blah, blah, blah." But then I was just trying to remind myself, I was like, "This is the first time I've worked on a scene in over a year with
Yeah.
professional acting, um, and other professional actors, um, in a long time." So I have to just kinda remind myself that, but I'm not feeling good about myself after that, workshop. So when I was like, "Oh my god," and then I was like, "Oh, I've got the podcast with you," and I was like, "Actually, no, it's good. I can actually, like, debrief and realize that, yeah, it's a muscle. You've just gotta practice." I know, yeah, I've definitely
Yeah.
better, and I'm just kind of like, it's that thing of, like, actors make it look so easy, and you think, "Oh, I can just do it," but then to actually connect with an actor and figure out what you want and actually have it be authentic is just it's a skill you have to practice, like, yeah, talent only gets you so far, which I'm not saying I have any talent. I am saying I worked very hard in performing, and I used to audition all the time and do a lot of theater, um, and
Well, a lot of talent comes from
yeah,
practice.
it's just practice. So
So
yeah, I had to just I guess it's just a check yourself moment. So
no, it sounds quite humbling,
this
to be honest.
podcast to them being like, because we started a little group chat, like, if you ever need to practice scenes and stuff, because that was really good just connecting with other actors being like, "Oh, it's just," and that was the thing, I was just like, "I am just so happy to be here to talk to other creatives that are really serious, because this is what I get from you. It's like, you're taking me seriously, like, even though I waffle on, I'm like, "No, but I wanna write, and I this is gonna get done," This is all I think about in my spare time. So that's what I feel like we've connected on is, like, being taken seriously, because there's so many people in my life that are just like, "Yeah, that's just Chloe doing her weird little hobby," and I'm like, "No, I'm a
Goodness.
serious artist." Um, but yeah, so I just, got to what is it? I got my ego was a bit damaged today.
Your hubris was wounded also slight. I think, look, like you say, it's a muscle that you exercise. If you go to gym after not going to gym for a year, it's gonna hurt by the time you exit. No, seriously. But I'm glad that you're able to set up this community with other actors as well, just to practice and get that in. And yeah, absolutely. Have fun with it as well. Like I know you are I consider you a serious artist and I consider you a serious creator, but also to have fun with it, give yourself a degree of grace because
Yeah.
it's definitely a journey in getting there. Just need a bit more practice.
So yeah, dipping my toes in the water now. I'm so excited. So our highlight for the week is your whip. Would you like to pray do tell us about your whip?
Yeah, sure thing. So I am getting started with a journalistic project, which is for my degree. I'm in my third final year now, and we need one large project to finish it all off, so to speak. One of those things is either going to be a documentary or a magazine, and I am currently working on both, but I'm being graded for a magazine. So this magazine is called Prequel Pictures, and I'm hoping that that name stays true all the way throughout. I have got the
That?
domain at this point, but Yeah, it's a magazine for aspiring filmmakers, which I have come to realize there isn't that many platforms dedicated solely to inspiring aspiring filmmakers. And yeah, I just want to have fun with this one. So I'm very excited about writing a magazine which is on one of the topics that I just adore, which is filmmaking. So
So,
yeah.
so many questions. What do you mean by aspiring filmmaker? Are you saying like people's first short film that they've released, or that's where my mind went. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's one of the things that would be covered is first-time filmmakers. The other thing is, yeah, people who are studying filmmaking. So they are at a university level um, and a university age. So I'm thinking of dedicating this to more like 16 to 25-year-olds. So that includes
Mm.
people inside and outside education, um, within education, folks who are studying or interested in film, and outside of education, people who are interested in going into the industry. Because I know of a few filmmakers who don't study filmmaking, but they have gotten to film sets. They are getting their feet into the industry or trying. And so it's, yeah, it's dedicated to this sort of demographic of people who have aspirations, but they might not know how to get there. So it's sort of outlining the steps in a sense. Everyone's journey is different, but it's trying to empower them in as much as I can.
So is the magazine just you writing about people and interviewing these people, or are you going to be asking for people to submit their perspectives? What's the vibe?
So it's a little bit of everything, to be honest. There's a lot to cover within this particular subject, and I'm going to try and give as broad an overview as possible. And that includes writing about it, yeah, from a more analytical perspective, gathering resources and directing people to good platforms for them to learn more. But then also interviewing people is going to be a big part of the magazine. So whether that's doing a 2-page spread on rising talent in the industry, or speaking with, I've got a few contacts in the film industry, so speaking with directors and producers and actors, a wide range of people who are in the industry in varying levels of um, expertise. So yeah, it's a little bit of everything, to be honest, and I am excited about that. I've already interviewed one individual for the magazine, which I'm very excited about.
Ah, this is so cool. Oh my gosh. Did you make the little thing that's on it?
I did, yes. I have been. I've decided to invest in Canva Premium, which is not cheap.
Oh,
But it's yeah, I'm going to try and use it as much as I can over the next month. So
and you so many things. I'm like, can you just edit this one little thing for me?
Canva Premium is just, it's so fantastic. It
Oh,
feels.
and it just rejigged it. Did you notice that recently when I was putting all the stuff together for the other episode? I was like, oh, everything's different. I don't like it.
You've moved it around again. I don't like, it's like, the equivalent of walking into your room, and I've never had this thankfully, but if someone rearranged all your furniture in there, I mean, you'd be a little bit discombobulated, to say the least, and I felt that way. Yeah, it's like the same when they update any program that I use on a regular basis. Why?
My sister growing up, I went on holidays with my parents and she didn't because she was older and had work and stuff. But I came back and she'd swapped our bedrooms and I had the bigger bedroom at this point.
Okay, well, that's an upgrade.
No, no, no. I had the bigger bedroom and she swapped me for the other bedroom.
No, I thought you said you have now. Okay, no, no, no. You need to file a formal complaint.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That was my childhood, being the baby. That's so cool though. Oh my gosh, this website looks so professional. We should link it in the
link it somewhere. Yeah, and for people that want to find it, it's prequelpictures.com. Pretty straightforward. And if you go to included in the magazine, you'll see a rundown of the things that will be included in the magazine. And if you want to contact me for anything related to the magazine, whether it's a discussion of subscriptions or if they would like to promote themselves within the magazine, I'd be really happy to, have a discussion with these individuals. So I've just got the website up, and so far I've got a few likes, hoping to get a few more, and a good grade. That's the hope here.
How often are you going to be posting? Like, is it, you say magazine, but because it's a website, is it going to be more like a blog?
So what I'm doing is I'm creating almost a news type online magazine. So there will be a selection of articles free to read, which is available publicly on the website. But then I'm planning long term, if I can keep this up, then I will, to publish an e-magazine once every 3 months or 4 months. So that would be purchasable, and within would be more exclusive content. But the platform itself, I do have big picture plans for it. We'll see how far it all goes.
How much work?
How much? Yeah,
Classic
I'm
us.
I'm happy to put the work in. It's just a case of seeing where it goes. And I mean, it's going to be quite slow going, to be honest, between now and spring next year. But once I've got the grades through for the magazine.
It's an international podcast. We are currently in spring in Australia.
Oh, right. Got to clarify. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, in the Great United Kingdom, spring 2026. If you're in Australia, that's what? Summer? No, it's not summer. It's autumn.
Yeah,
Autumn?
our summer, December, January, February.
Right.
February is the hottest month. So back to this website. It's so interesting that you mentioned about this website because one of the podcasts that I was working on with some of the boys from uni, the boys and theys, I should say, and I just couldn't get off the ground because timing and getting everyone together with 3 people for a podcast was to find new short films or everyone's. We called it from scratch. And the idea was to have everyone's first short film or their crappy student film from like year 12, their first year bachelors, but then we review it as if it's like an Oscar-winning film, like giving it a full-on critique. Because I thought that would be really funny. Obviously, like with kindness, and appreciation for the craft. And I love this idea of people sending in these prequel pictures, like the things that they've worked on, because it's like when you're a starting out artist, and when you're at this kind of emerging thing, which I mean, I feel like I say this every podcast. It's like being on that cusp is so hard because everyone's just like, oh, you're still going on about this weird creative crap that you do. Um, but then you're not cool enough to be within the inner circle to get your things funded and it to be a full-time job. And it's like that's the moment where you need the underdogs. You need the people that just love art and love creativity to comment and talk about your film to get a bit of that traction. And I mean, I feel it when I'm like releasing music. It's like emailing people being like, "Hi, I'm a little artist from Melbourne. Please listen to my song and it is going to be out soon. It's about this. Please like and subscribe." You know, yeah, you're constantly trying to find those like niches of people and find your people, I guess. So I do. Maybe it's something I should get out of the works. Like it's all planned, but maybe we'll do a secondary podcast that is reviewing first films. And then the idea was also I'd pull out the first film I ever made, my short film that I made out of the works that's on my hard drive that is terrible, but it got done and I finished it and it was shown at an event. And especially short films. Like this is why I'm obsessed with Canopy because it has the short films. And I feel like, yeah, you're constantly comparing yourself to the big films that have the marketing budget. And most of my favorite films aren't those mainstream ones. Now that I'm someone that's just loves the craft and loves the I watch it with more of a critical eye than a relaxation eye, except when it comes to One Piece because that's my comfort film and TV series at the moment. Honestly, when I was like sitting down to be like, okay, what I'm going to talk to you about, I was like, oh, One Piece. I was like, oh no, I spoke about that last episode. There's just so many episodes, and I just keep falling in love with the characters more and more. But yeah, it sounds so cool. Oh my gosh. Okay, if I meet other people that have got their short films, I'll tell them, hey, you should talk to my friend. She's
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely. No, it would
Um,
be fantastic to get people on board. So
yeah. What else do you have in your news? Honestly, I'm so excited to hear about how this all happened. Please.
thank you. Yeah, it's you are talking about the awards, right?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So I was shortlisted for. Thank you. It's very exciting. I was shortlisted for Student Radio Journalist of the Year,
Woo.
and that is by the Midlands Media Awards, which is run by the Birmingham Press Club. So it is very much Midlands based. And yeah, it was. I submitted the podcast about lucid dreaming. I also made a podcast about AI, and I submitted one little radio cue that I did as part of my course. So I was really happy to hear that I'd been nominated, and we'll go to the award ceremony, see what happens. I'm going with my mum, and it's a fancy dress with. I've been given the menu. Looks
Oh my
great.
goodness.
Very
Do
excited.
you have the dress yet? Or
I do, yes. I got it in Australia actually. I just haven't had opportunity to wear it. It's a very smart, um, business-like
ooh,
sort of
love.
dress. Yeah, I mean it's more like me. I love a little bit of whimsy, but I generally the way I dress tends to be quite professionally. So I'm glad that yeah.
I love it. Oh my god, you have to send me a picture of your outfit and everything. I'm so excited for you. That's so I'm just like I'm so chuffed that I get to host a podcast with a nominee of the Midlands. Uh
Yeah.
so what maybe I need to find some competitions and start submitting.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you never know. You never know what comes from them. And it's always great on a CV to say that you've been nominated for something, that you've even won something, if that's
I
if
like
it
I
goes as
want.
far as that. But well, Estetica. Yes, Estetica is a place I went to just a few days ago.
Oh
It's
yes.
one of the biggest UK film festivals. It was absolutely amazing.
Oh.
Um, seeing lots
And
of
that's where you
really
had the interview with
incredible
those.
short films. Sorry?
Is where you had that interview? You got to
Yes,
interview.
I managed to interview one of the founders for Estetica, which was just so cool. I did not have that on my bingo cards for the day. I was hoping, but he was happy to be spoken to and just a really nice guy. Um,
Oh, that's
so his name is Dale, I believe, and I'll be hopefully putting out snippets of that interview and little teasers. And he did give an exclusive scoop, which I'm very happy about, in the origins of the film festival. So I'm looking forward to including that a part of the magazine.
oh my god, you heard it here first from Cara Joubert. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I love that you're doing cool creative stuff. It's such like yeah, it's always a pleasure to listen to the stuff you're working on
Thank you.
and then hear your encouragement for the stuff that I'm working on. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to look out for each other in the industry, I feel. There's
100%.
enough pessimism going around. We need a little bit of, you can do it, you know?
And what is it like? I like the saying that it's like throw just throw everything at the wall, and see what sticks.
Mm, pretty much, yeah. There's been plenty of throwing over the last few years. Yeah.
Talked about my whip. We talked about the stuff that's inspiring us. We also went on a huge political rant that will most likely get cut. And we did one of the questions about name a dynamic duo that does not get enough recognition. But yeah, thanks for listening to Trust Your. I should do the sign off. I just realized. Thanks for listening to Trust Your Waffle. I have been Chloe, coming to you from Melbourne, Australia, and my co-host Cara from the Midlands.
The Midlands, yes, Lincolnshire, middle of nowhere.
And if you enjoyed this podcast, please like, share, subscribe, do all that shenanigans. All right. That's the podcast. Anything
Yeah,
else you need to?
we've waffled on, and this has been Trust Your Waffle. So trust your waffle.